Welcome back to my channel. So I just came on tonight to film a quick Q&A. I had some questions written down that I wanted to go over. These are kind of like the 10 most common questions that I get asked as a parent of a child with autism. So I'm going to go over these questions, and hopefully I don't make this video too long because I know I can talk. I'll get to certain topics and I'll just keep going. So I'm going to try to keep it brief so it won't be too long. But let's get started. So the first question that I usually get asked is, what age did I have Corey? And I'm not sure if this really pertains to autism. I feel like some people ask because they feel like age, people are always trying to figure out something when it comes to autism. They want to blame it on this, or they want to say, well, maybe it happened because of this or that. So I had Corey when I was 20 years old. So yeah, I was 20. I was a young one. I wasn't too young, but you know, I was graduated high school and things like that. But I was 20 years old. Question 2 is, what age was Corey diagnosed? Corey was diagnosed with autism at age 4. He actually got diagnosed his pre-K year of school, which we kind of knew at age 3 that he would be diagnosed, but the person that we took him to at age 3 just felt like he needed more structure. She didn't really think it was autism, but at age 4 we took him to another specialist a little bit further from where we live, and he was diagnosed at age 4. Question number 3. Does anyone else in my family have autism? This is a very common question that I get asked also. Nobody in my immediate family that I know of had autism. I was never around any immediate family that had autism, but I did find out a couple years ago that my stepmother's son had autism, which was something that I didn't know. So nobody in my immediate family, but that was an interesting fact that I found out, which was pretty cool. Question 4. Do we go to any special therapies with Corey? Right now, Corey does not receive any therapies besides the therapies that he gets in school, which he still gets his speech therapy in school and his occupational therapy in school. I would love to be able to get him a food therapist soon, just because he's really, really sensitive to a lot of foods. There's a lot of things that he will not eat, and I don't know if that's just because he's been eating the same things for so long or what. So one of the things that I would like to do is to try a food therapist. If that's something that we are able to achieve in the near future, I would like to vlog it just to have that experience, and hopefully over the course, you know, we can kind of see some changes together and see what's that like. Question 5. How long did it take to potty train Corey? So Corey was actually fully potty trained at about 3.5, I believe. It was 3.5. We had been trying for about 2 years, I would say, to get him potty trained. And he would do really, really good with number 1. And I hear a lot of parents say that for children, not even just children, I mean typical developing children, it seems easier to have them, you know, number 1 is always easier for them. So number 2 seemed to have taken a little bit longer. And I think it was just because he would literally try to hold it until he just could not any longer, and he would go run into the bathroom and have an accident. However, I will say that when it comes to bedwetting, we were very blessed in that area. I think Corey only wet the bed a couple times. He does not like to feel the wetness on his skin. He does not like that feeling. So I think that really helped. But I want to do a sit down video on potty training alone, so I won't go any further into that. We'll leave that at that. I get asked, what is the hardest part about raising a child with autism? And to be honest, I wouldn't say that anything is too hard to handle. Of course, I think me being the adult and the parent and the role model and his father also, the biggest thing with us is just remembering to be patient with him and remembering that everything won't happen in a snap of a finger, but we also make sure that we give him the same opportunities that we would any other child. So patience, and I think that's for my sake. Patience is very important. We get asked, why doesn't he look like he has autism? Why doesn't he look like he has autism? And I don't really, when I get that question, it's kind of hard for me because I don't really know how to answer that. I think people feel like children who have disabilities wear their disabilities, like you should be able to see their disabilities, and autism is just not like that. It's not like you will walk into a room and look at a person with autism and say, hey, they have autism, unless you are around them for a specific time period and you're able to see some of the things that they do. Children with autism, they love to flap their hands. They may script. They may bounce. Corey is a very bouncy boy. He loves to bounce. Bouncing baby boy. When I was pregnant with him, I used to see that a lot, and that little boy is a bouncy little boy. He loves to bounce. He does not like to sit still. Sitting still is very, very hard for him, but it's something that we're working on with him. It's something that we have been working on with him for ever since we got the diagnosis. So that's just something we've learned to deal with. But yeah, I don't really know how to answer the question, why does he look like he has autism? Because autism doesn't have a specified look. So yeah. Next question. How well does Corey sleep? Corey sleeps really, really good. We have a routine where about 7:30 at night is usually when Corey starts to calm down. So we take that time to go over any instructive things like getting him to write or reading or going over his colors with him or just conversing with him, and or going over his stuffed animals where he will name his stuffed animals to me. And I actually have a video clip of that. I might insert it in this video at the end so you guys can see. It's really it's so cool, and it's fun for him, but it's just a way to get him to engage and use his words, because not all children with autism, but my child in particular will use as least words as possible. He just will. We get asked, how well does Corey eat? And Corey eats okay. If it's something he likes, he will devour it. He will eat it. You will not have any issues with him eating it. But just the range of what he eats. We would like for him to eat more, and I know all parents, we wish that our child would eat more fruits and vegetables. Some parents out there actually have those babies that love fruits and vegetables. My baby, he loves fruit, but vegetables, not really that big on vegetables. So what we do is I make smoothies for him, and I hide vegetables in his smoothies, and that works. Parent tip. So I might actually make a video on that, because I think that would be very interesting for you guys to see. And he drinks the smoothie so fast, like we have no issues with him. I actually tried to get him to eat carrots tonight, and he put it in his mouth. That we've gotten far, because it used to be if you gave him a food, he would gag and gag and gag and gag until he threw up. Now he will take the food, he will touch the food, he will place the food in his mouth and hold it on his tongue. So that's as far as we've gotten. Some things he has actually eaten, but a lot of things he will just let it sit on his tongue. And so I need to know how to progress with that. We're trying to move that forward, and I feel like we will, as long as we keep introducing him to new things. So yeah. Last question: do we want more children, and are we afraid that our future children will have autism? The answer to that is we absolutely, yes, do want more children. I actually wanted 4 children. My fiance, I think he's like, okay, 3, but whatever God blesses us with is what we're happy with. Do we think our future children will have autism? It's not really something I can answer particularly, because I don't know. It really doesn't matter to me. Like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's not something that I want to dwell on. I don't want to put that energy out there, because if it happens, it happens. It's not something that, I'll be disappointed in. But, just because you have one child with autism doesn't mean that all of your children will have autism. I know parents that have kids with autism, and, their other children don't have autism. So it's really something that we don't know, until we get the diagnosis. I do know now that I know what to look for. I know the signs, I know what I can do to kind of help out in the beginning stages of it. And I think if I would have known the signs earlier for Corey, I could have gotten him early intervention a lot earlier than we did, because he didn't really he had speech therapists, but we got him speech therapists just because he wasn't talking. She never mentioned autism in anything. She just did the speech therapy with him. And so a lot of people, I don't know if it was because I was a parent and I seemed like vulnerable or what it was, but a lot of people just, they did not want to even use that word around me. I don't know if it's because they seen how timid I was. Like, I just looked like I was going to break down and cry every time the word autism came about. But yeah, so he didn't get his diagnosis until he was 4. And if he would have had his diagnosis earlier, then there were some things that we could have done a lot earlier, but unfortunately it did not work out that way. So parents out there watching this, if you can look up the signs of autism online, they're there. And just because your child may be modeling 1 or 2 of those signs, it absolutely does not mean that your child has autism. That's something that you want to consult with a specialist, because we tend to self-diagnose things nowadays, and it's really important to speak with a specialist about that. But if you have a feeling as a parent And especially, I can't even just say especially as moms, because parents, we have those intuitive feelings and we feel things. And just like with Corey, I just, I would search certain things like, why isn't he talking yet? Or, why isn't he doing this? Why doesn't it seem like he's responding to his name? Is it his hearing? And I actually have a video that I'm going to release on the signs that we seen as parents. And just kind of, those signs for parents out there who have children that may be, they may feel like maybe on the spectrum. It's something that, we can keep our eyes on and really pay close attention to. And I know it's hard. I really, really do. And I sympathize with every parent that is going through that beginning stage, because I know how it feels. But it's so, so, so important to not run away from it, and just to stand up to it and know that you have support out there. And I can link my email address down below, and if it's anything I can do, if you just need a word of encouragement or need advice on the experience, I know how it is. I really, really do. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like they're alone, because I felt like that. I don't have any other parents around here in my area that I know particularly that have children with autism, so I didn't really have anybody to ask questions to. And maybe I did, and maybe I was just too scared to. But whatever the case may be, just remember that it doesn't change your child. It doesn't change the fact that that's your child. That's still your child, and everything is going to be okay, and we can get through this together. So that's my Q&A, guys. I told you I can keep going on and on about this, so I'm going to stop right there and just say that I hope that this helps someone out there. These are the questions that I get, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these questions are very, very common to parents of children with autism. So if there were any questions that I did not answer and you would like me to answer, you can leave them below and I'll answer them for you. If there's anything else you need, just leave it below and we can interact that way. I haven't been getting any comments yet, but I'm pretty sure, once I start, I would love to be able to interact with you guys. So see you guys later. Bye.